Hey, good morning. This is Travis. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Well, guys, it is 6:05 on Tuesday, June 19th, 6:05 in the morning. And I normally don't do videos like this. I usually don't re-release videos, but I just got an email from Sonicking, the company that manufactures this 3 to 9 by 40 power scope. And if you've been watching the channel, I've released a series of videos on this scope. And what you're about to watch is my original range test on this scope. Except, I want to let you know that Sonicking just told me a few minutes ago that they're going to offer an affiliate discount on this scope. So if you go to Amazon, put this in your cart, and use the code that's posted as the pinned comment down below or in the description box, you will get a discount on the scope. It should be $30 at the time of checkout. And that's great because the scope originally sold for 40 bucks. That's going to save you, I don't even know, 33%? Can't do the math today. A little bit too early, still haven't woken up yet. But the scope has been performing excellently, okay? I've got about 100 rounds through the pipe right now, and the gun total has over 250 rounds on it. I'm going to be taking it out again just to make sure that the scope is still functioning fine. Again, after 2 visits to the range, we still have not had any problems with it. It still holds zero just fine. It seems to be able to handle the shock of the 7.62 by 39 round. Now, real quick, this scope has a sweet spot of about 0 to about 150 or 200 yards. It has very clear glass. The controls are easy to modulate. The markings adjust correctly when you're making your adjustments when you're trying to zero the scope. Magnification power is just fine. It's a perfect scope for about 0 to 300 yards, depending on what you're shooting, what your round is, or you can take it out further if your round allows you to do so. So again, the video you're going to see, original range test, make sure that you get on over to Amazon, pick up one of these scopes while they're on sale. Do use the discount code. Now here's the deal. If I ever have a problem with this scope, if it ever fails or doesn't hold zero, I'm going to let you know. So Sonicking, I'm definitely testing out the quality of your product, and I will let my viewers know if it fails. But right now, after 150 rounds of after 100 rounds of 3 different types of ammo or 3 different brands of ammo, varieties, okay, we've had no problem so far. So sit back, get your coffee, enjoy the range test you're about to watch, save a little bit of money in the meantime, and have a great morning, guys. All right, bye-bye. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Travisp11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Well guys, what we're going to do is a bit of a budget shootout today, a bit of an accuracy test. What we're going to do is we're going to take one of the least expensive 7.62 by 39 bolt action rifles on the market, the Ruger American Ranch rifle, and we're going to run some inexpensive Tula ammo through it, 122 grain full metal jacket ball ammo, steel case, and the cheapest 3 to 9 power by 40 millimeter reticle scope you can buy on Amazon. This is the Sonicking Scope. Now, this scope was sent to me by Sonicking, and I make you zero guarantees about the accuracy. I've never used the scope before. I don't know if it's going to hold zero. The rifle's not zeroed in yet. We're going to get it zeroed in, and we'll be shooting at 100, 200, and 300 yard increments. I'll have the camera going out by the targets. I'll have my camera going to show you that the shooting is actually happening. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever this thing puts on paper after I zero it is the accuracy you're going to get. I'm going to offer you the best accuracy I can. I've got a Caldwell lead sled. We've got a lead shot bag, spotting scope. It's a calm day, probably about, maybe 8 to 10 mile an hour breeze. Out of the south, it's about 80 degrees and about 40-50% humidity right now. Those are the shooting conditions. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started and see what happens. All right, so real quick, this is my setup. We've got the Ruger Ranch rifle. We've got the lead sled with the bag of lead weight there. Got my spotting scope ready to go. And again, the first range test I did on this was just the 100 yards carbine range, which is off to my left. This is the Rob Jeffrey firing range. I don't have a very powerful zoom lens on here, but that is 100 yards, and then 200 yards is right in front of it, and 300 yards is that little black box that you see probably about 1 o'clock. I'm at max zoom right now. There's a telephone pole in the middle of the screen. It's just off to the right. Obviously it's closer in front of it. That's 300 yards, but I'll have the camera going the whole time so that you can see the distances that I'm shooting at. Now the Rob Jeffrey firing range is just awesome. I don't know if you can see it. The tree line that you see on the distant horizon, there is a wall there of dirt and sand, okay, a barricade, and that is 2,000 yards. So this range does go out to 2,000 yards. Typically, most of the shoots, long distance shoots, they'll take it out to 1,200, sometimes 1,500 yards. When they bring the Barretts out and fun stuff like that, they'll go out to 2,000. So anyway, this is the setup. This is how we're going to be shooting. And got the ammo right there. And let's go ahead and get this dialed in. Alright guys, so this is just kind of a spoiler alert. Dialing it in, you can see where my first shots hit. And once I finally connected on paper, it took me, a while, groups of three, groups of three, groups of three, and then eventually I got it right where I wanted it. Again, this is the 100-yard marker. Right there, you can see that, 100 yards. And then I just did 3 shots for the heck of it, just to make sure I could see these targets on paper, and this is what it produced. I don't know, we're probably looking at about 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take our first 3 shots at 100 yards, and we will see what happens. So far, so... Still shooting a little bit low, but we're going to go ahead and leave it as is. I don't want to mess up any of the adjustments. Flinched a little there, we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, it's off a little bit. Alright, let's see if we can bring it back on this last one. Alright, okay, let's see how we did. Okay, so didn't shoot as good as I did when I was dialing it in. Maybe I was a little bit nervous. I know I did flinch on one of the shots. So this was the last 3 shots that I took before I started filming. And again, I was aiming here. I think that we're pretty much okay. I wasn't pulling to the left at all over here. I don't think there's really any adjustments I need to make from this point. Let's just see what she can do. All I did was raise it 2 clicks to go up a 1/2 inch at 100 yards just to get it level, and I think we're there. So it's just more or less me holding the rifle as steady as possible. It's still perfectly acceptable, guys. 100 yards, Tula ammunition, with a $37 scope. This would be fine for deer season. I mean, you're gonna be good to go. So let's go out to 200 yards. All right, so here's the deal. I looked up the ballistics on the Tula ammo that I'm shooting. At 200 yards, we're looking at a 7.1 inch drop. So I'm going to go ahead and hold the reticle at the top of the target, centered as good as I can. You don't have any MOA markings in this with the crosshairs on the reticle inside the scope. So it's going to be kind of a guessing game for bullet drops. You just naturally have to compensate, which is normal. Now, at 300 yards, we're looking at a 26 inch drop. So we're going to have to figure that one out when we get there. But I will hold, like I said, top center of the target the best I can. And we'll see if that matches up. There could be, the wind could start to push things a little bit too. The wind's picking up a bit. But 100 yards, very promising, although you could, potentially pull that off with iron sights and an AK, although this is going to give you a more precise shot for hunting. So let's try 200 yards. We'll see what happens. Okay, I flinched a little bit that time. It happens. Let's try this again. Not bad. All right, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put the crosshairs, the little quadrant, up in the top right corner where the lines meet. I'm going to rest them on top of the target, and we'll see if that does anything for accuracy. Mainly because I can, and it's pretty easy to do looking through it. The scope itself is nice and clear. Very easy to make out my target. Okay, so next 3 shots. Here we go. Looks like everything right now is right at the center or below. So there looks like there's a couple of them that might be spot on. I don't know. We'll do 3 shots. This thing is so much fun to shoot. The bolt, not as smooth as say a CZ or, you know, Daddy's Winchester, but not bad. All right, let's go check that out. Okay, so here's what's going on. 200 yards. I was aiming here. All right, I had my horizontal and my vertical going right here, and the shots were landing here. These are the 3 shots that we did 200 yards, which is crazy because when I shot before, the shots were down here. Now, the barrel was fairly cool when I took the shots. Possibility. Now, in the top right corner, the shots were going here. So we have these 2 shots and this one. So really, you've got 2 and 1, 2 and 1. That goes that way. I mean, it's pretty much proportional to where you're putting the crosshairs. The point is, if I was aiming dead smack in the center, you know, the shots would be way off the paper like I did before when I aimed here. The shots were way down here. Okay, so what is this proving? You know, 150 yards, you should be good. All right, so let's go head on out to the 300 yard marker real quick, and I'm gonna talk about what we're gonna do. Okay, so here we go, guys, 300 yards, all right? Things are gonna change here a little bit. So again, trying to simulate maybe hitting, you know, not center mass, but a good side shot on a deer, good kill shot. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and just aim at the bullseye, okay? 300 yards, there's no holes, there's no bullet holes at all in this board right here. And we're gonna see where they connect. Okay, I'm just gonna do bullseye just for the heck of it, see if we get that 26-inch drop and see how far the wind pushes it over. And then with the silhouette target, I'm gonna do 3 headshots, 3 center mass shots. The paper's completely clean. It did get a little folded over there, but that's not a big deal. And we're gonna just see where the bullets get pushed. All right, this is kind of fun stuff. Let's go ahead and get started. 3 shots, aiming right at the bullseye, the target closest to the silhouette. I've got a slight problem here. My 200 yard target is in the way. I don't have any other places I can set up, so I'm just going to be taking headshots on this one. I should clear the hill. Sorry, I can't talk today. I'll aim as low as I can, but it's probably going to hit the dirt hill at 200 yards, so we'll see what we can do. We'll go and take 6 shots. Barrel's definitely heating up. we'll do one more. It's aiming basically at the forehead of the silhouette. All right, let's see how we did. All right, so 300 yards. Those first 3 shots that I took, I was aiming here, and I can't even tell where they went. I don't see any. There's that little hole right there, but that might have been there from before. No. Don't know exactly. No? Okay, I can see one right here, and I can see one right here, and there's one right here. So I'm going to assume that was from us because there were no holes there earlier. Now, for the silhouette target, I was aiming here, and my rounds were dropping all the way into this zone. Now, I think I took either 6 or 7 shots. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots that we can account for. So if you were aiming at the head at 300 yards, now we're not talking a deer here, but if you were, you'd be hitting center mass. It would still be effective, a little bit low left to that one shot. If you're aiming on a deer, you know, if you're aiming up, say, towards the middle part of the neck, yeah, you'd probably have a good vital shot. But again, it all comes down to really knowing the ballistics of your ammunition. So, I mean, the scope works. That's the most important thing. Just kind of limited by the ammo. All right, let's bring it back for a few final thoughts. Okay, guys, so now comes the big question. Should you buy a scope like this? You know, with a little more practice, I think that a person can be even more accurate with this firearm. I do feel like it produced pretty good accuracy for what I was looking for. The sweet spot for a scope like this would have to be 100 to 150 yards, especially with the 7.62 by 39 round. I think it would be efficient out to 200, but 300 yards, it's going to be almost a bit of a guessing game, and there's a lot of other factors that could interfere with your shot accuracy. Now, bear in mind, I was shooting from a lead sled. If you were standing or using just like a monopod or a bipod, you know, your accuracy is going to vary. But there's features of this scope that I was looking forward to seeing, and I did see at the range today. It's got the clarity that we're looking for. Even at the further end, it's still nice and bright. The optics transmit great light. The crosshairs are a little thick. Okay, I wish they were a little bit thinner, but that's not a big deal. You're going to be fine working with that. And most importantly, it held 0 the whole time. That was the one thing that I was looking for. Is this thing going to get beat up after 50, 60, 70 shots? And we put 75 shots total through this rifle today. After I turned off the camera, I took a few more shots just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, to make sure it holds 0, and it did. So for $37, I really don't think you could go wrong. I think this would be an excellent scope for, say, a 30-30. It's a wonderful scope for this rifle. It just depends on how far you're looking to take that round. 100 yards and less, you're going to be fine. It would be great for varmint hunting, like I mentioned before, in the range testing, deer hunting. And at 300 yards, you know, guys, it was getting tough to try to figure out where the round was going to go. So that's why I had to modify things a little bit with that silhouette target. I don't like to change my plans from when I go out to the range for what I want to do. But sometimes you just don't have a choice. And so we just wanted to see, you know, doing the headshots, so to speak, where the round's gonna hit. And mainly it's because I had such a large target. I wanted to know where they were gonna go. So pick one up, buy one, try it. You know, if you don't like it, you can always send it back. If this thing had trouble holding 0, you would have seen it on camera. If it broke or fell apart or was not working properly, you would have seen that too. The mounts stayed nice and tight the whole time that we were out there. That's also important. You know, if you're on a budget, I think it's going to get you to where you want to be, especially if you're going to put this on maybe a lower price rifle, maybe somebody passes one off to you, or you want to have a second deer gun for the camp and so on. I would say it's a way to go. So that's it, guys. I want to thank you for joining me today. By the way, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm also on gunchannels.com. We have a Saturday morning podcast that we call the Caliber Corner, and we do that at 8 a.m. Central Time. We've got about 45, 46 episodes up right now that you can check out. And I try to do that every Saturday that I possibly can. Make sure you check me out over on guntube.org. It's another social media site that we put our videos up on, and you know, you can obviously find me over on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Otherwise, guys, we had a blast today. We spent about 4 hours out at the range doing our testing and just playing around. 75 rounds later, I'm very happy with it. The scope is going to stay on here. The larger scope that I showed you earlier, the center point scope, the 4-16 power scope that I used for the first range test on this rifle, that's just going to be kept around as a tester. Now, the 4-16 power made it very, very easy to shoot this rifle very well at 100 yards. Of course, your bullseye is this big. I mean, you're looking at it, and it's right in front of you. You know, when you go to a smaller reticle, a smaller lens, When you go to a little bit less power, things are going to get a little bit smaller. I mean, it's not impossible to work with, and like I said, for most of your targets you're going to be hunting, you know, even if you're just hitting, say, a 12-inch gong, right, at 200 yards, 250 yards, you're going to be just fine. So otherwise, I think we're all set. So guys, that's it. I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe, and as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.